wide open. Welcome back, I'm Tedward. Welcome to the F-150 Tremor, Ford's answer to, do you really need a Raptor? And this one is powered by the 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost, so twin turbos making 400 horsepower, same power as the no-cost option 5 liter V8 for 2025. In 2026, I think you gotta pay maybe $170. But instead of about 400 to 410 pound-feet of torque in that V8, which we love, this EcoBoost makes 500 pound-feet of torque. So it's definitely going to be a little more comfortable getting off the line, leaning into that throttle, and towing. You get the lift, you get 33-inch tires. I'm going to be living with this Tremor for the next week, but right now we're heading to the airport because I'm actually going to 2 FIFA World Cup games in 2 different cities on 2 consecutive days. So first we're going to Philadelphia to watch Ivory Coast and Curacao, thanks to Kia, who is the official travel partner, transportation partner of FIFA. And then on Friday, I'm flying back home to go to Gillette Stadium, which they're calling Boston Stadium for branding reasons, with Hyundai to see Norway versus France. And this F-150 Tremor is gonna take me to both games alongside Delta, I suppose. But anyway, the Tremor's cool because you get this lift, you get the 33-inch tires. This one also has the 402A package, which gives you a lot more stuff, including the 14-speaker Bang & Olufsen, but more importantly, it gives you a 2-speed transfer case as well as a Torsen limited slip front differential. It's got 373 gearing. You've also got this trick lift gate. Look at that. Actually, does that go back up on its own too? Oh yeah, that's luxury, baby. The real truck guys are like, come on, man, you can lift your own tailgate. But you know what? Sometimes I don't want to do that. One thing I really like about this, you know, I'm not a huge dude. Wait a minute, let's see if this, holy cow, is this step like locked in? Is there another step to the step? Or is this just really, there it is. Okay, she was just really in there. Okay, I love a step. That's really helpful because, you know, I'm not a huge dude and sometimes you do just need to do the job and step up without falling on your butt. Anyway, let's pack this thing up and take it to the airport because I am already in a rush. In typical Tedward fashion, I'm packing at the last minute and rushing off to the airport. So, let's go. Yeah, look at this, 15,660 miles on this thing. This is a 2025, which is kind of old for a press vehicle. Usually the press loaners are like brand new. So this one's seen some things, which is kind of fun. It'll let us know if there's any reliability issues, because if you give a bunch of journalists a vehicle for almost 16,000 miles, trust me, they'll age it faster than anybody you know, unless it's Whistling Diesel. But I guess we could call him a journalist, right? He seems to know what's what. Got CarPlay going, very easy. I just plugged in, don't have to do any fancy stuff. I like that. I despise having to set things up on Bluetooth. And then, let's see, to get into drive. There we go. I don't hate the sound of this EcoBoost V6, but I do prefer the V8, so a little bit of a detractor. But the thing is, this EcoBoost made it to the 10-speed just rips. It really stays within the power band pretty much all of the time. You also notice I put my stuff in the back. I don't like using the bed of a truck for stuff that I consider clean, like my backpack, for example. I'm not gonna just lay that in the bed of a truck because it's gonna slosh around, and you know, the bed of the truck's been used for things. It's probably a little dirty back there. So I don't necessarily want like my clean stuff on that. And it's also slightly inconvenient when you've got a pickup truck with kind of an open bed like that, where it's just, you know, maybe bed liner or even just bare metal. There are things that I would not necessarily want to put back there without either securing it or adding like a packing blanket. So there is some lack of practicality sometimes to a pickup truck that I forget about because I think, oh look, there's all that space, I'm gonna put my bike back there. But like, putting my bike in a Crosstrek or an Outback or the Defender or my Civic or my GX, it's in the vehicle with me. It's sitting on nice soft things. I sure do put a packing blanket down on it, but it's pretty secure. It doesn't really go anywhere when I take a turn or accelerate or brake, whereas in the back of a truck, it can slosh around a little bit, and then you end up damaging something expensive, and you don't want to do that. Dude, this thing rips. I'm just like leaning on it, and it moves. So in terms of World Cup stuff, I don't know if you're a soccer fan. I'm not somebody who follows any of this stuff outside of the actual World Cup season. So I'm a fake fan, and that's fine. I'll own up to it. It's so much fun, though, because I love seeing all these different players come together on a team. It's the Olympics, you know? It's crazy, and there's so much incredible patriotism from all these other countries that maybe you don't think about very often, you know? It's kind of fun to see that, and they all descend upon where they're playing. So, for example, I was in Providence the other night, and Ghana's playing, and so there was a ton of people from Ghana. Which, are they Ghanaians? I don't know the answer to that. I got to look that up. That is ignorant of me. But it was fun to just see like a ton of people in a hotel, and they're all there for the same reason, and it's not some boring work conference. They're there to support their country, which is kind of sweet. I'm going to the Ivory Coast Curacao game right now. That's what I'm going to do in Philly, and I don't really have any skin in the game for either of them, except for the fact that this is the name of the coach from Curacao. And how are you not going to cheer for Dick Advocate? Yeah, I think that's my guy. I think we're going for Curacao on this one. Don't know how that's going to go. It's a small country, and Ivory Coast is pretty big. But you know what? We'll see. And then France, Norway. I got to go France. Not only because I would go France anyway, but they're Norwegians. They're already too pretty. They have everything. And this is the wrong side of the road for a bicycle. It's just like, you know, I get why people hate cyclists, because there's a select few, or maybe more than a few, that just ride like absolute clowns. And it's super frustrating because the rest of us are pretty darn good. I straight up thought that was a fan boat for a second. Oh, this thing's comfortable. If you think you need a Raptor, drive the Tremor first, just to see, just to know. You might not need it. I don't want to fill this tank. It's got 540 miles of range, and this can't be that efficient. I know Eco is in the EcoBoost name, but that's marketing. I put my sunglasses up there, but I'm 100% going to forget to bring them on the plane if I do that. Pickup truck, we can still make this move, which is kind of incredible. Look how rapid this thing accelerates. It's really nice. Well, it was all for nothing anyway, because I'm going to have to yield to this fella. I don't have paddle shifters. I just went for the paddle downshift, and I didn't get it. Well, don't wave to me. You have the right of way, so. I have the yield sign. Okay, I need to not ride this lady. That's not nice. When you have a front end this big, you have to treat it with some respect and not just jump on people's tails. When I'm in the Honda, I don't feel as guilty about getting a little close or approaching people, because it's just a little Honda guy. But in this, you can look like a jerk real fast. The vehicle in front of us is the mighty Honda Ridgeline, which is pretty much as much truck as most people need. And that brings up the conversation of why are we all buying these giant vehicles? Ridgeline is not small, but it is known sort of as more of like an El Camino in the truck community, if you know what I mean. It's a unibody thing. The reality, though, is like most people I know, especially in the Northeast, don't really need the trucks they buy. They buy these monster things, they drive alone, they commute to work, they park in an office building. maybe they carry something once in a while that they probably could have put in a Subaru Outback. Not saying you got to buy an Outback, but I do think we buy more car than we need most of the time. And with vehicles like the Ridgeline or even the Ford Lobo, they are usually more than enough to get the literal job you do done. Now, if you're out in Montana, Wyoming, you're towing horses, you've got boats out wherever you're on the lake and that kind of stuff, I fully get it. You got to do it. But the number of times I've seen my neighbors tow literally anything is nil, zero. The only people I see towing in my neighborhood are the landscapers. I bet they could get that job done with a Ridgeline. Problem though, ooh baby, are these luxurious. These pickup trucks are nice. Pickup trucks have changed so much over the years. They went from being like utilitarian bench seats with cloth and a column shifter and bouncy rear axles and just bare bones work truck. The working man's blue collar transportation. And today, I mean, F-150 is like a Cadillac. It's like a Lexus. It's nice in here. Let's see, do I have, yeah, I got ventilated seats. So this is what I think is funny though, is because the truck guy, the masculine embodiment of the pickup truck, he's gonna say that's a soft boy, the soy boy in his Ridgeline. And yet, look at him. He's sitting here with luxury. He's got all but massage seats. Oh, a heated steering wheel for his delicate hands. He's got ventilated seats. Now, I'm not saying that everybody can't have these things, but I do think there's just a funny atmosphere around truck ownership when you got a smaller truck and a guy with a bigger truck is telling you that you're soft. But he's sitting here in luxury, baby. Getting spoon-fed caviar in the F-150. I don't know. I like it. I just want the attitudes to change a little bit. All right, let's get over to airport parking because now we're just going to sit on the highway. A-pillar grab handles are A+ stuff. I think every tall vehicle should have an A-pillar grab handle. A lot of times they only have them on the passenger side. Ooh, check this out. That looks like a right-hand drive Land Cruiser. Yes. Love how soft this suspension is. It's not Raptor soft. Wide open. Long gearing. I would have short shifted that, but I don't have my shifter. I mean, I guess I could probably do it over here. Yeah, maybe, yeah, I guess I can. I have a manual mode there and a little up and down plus minus on the, but it'd be more fun if this had paddle shifters. I guess that's like gatekeeping for the Raptor, I suppose. Makes sense from a marketing standpoint, but if I were buying this, I wonder if you can put a Raptor steering wheel in it. I wonder if that works. I wonder if you can throw the paddles on there. Problem with all of these big construction projects on the highway and stuff is that they require a lot of earth to be moved. And now up ahead, we've got a dump truck, presumably filled with windshield shattering rocks, which is actually why we're in this right now. Believe it or not. Boy, did I have the perfect story for you. Going to 2 FIFA games. I love this. He passes me going 80 and then slows down to like 68. What is the point? Now I gotta speed up. What in the world is wrong with these people? I don't want to be behind this dump truck anymore. I always end up changing lanes under those gantries. I don't know what it is. But the story was supposed to be Kia is the FIFA transportation partner. And I was getting a Hyundai Palisade this week. So I was like, oh great, it'll make sense. I'm gonna go to the airport with this Hyundai Palisade, go down to Philly with Kia, watch the game, fly home. Then Hyundai invited me to the game at Gillette, and then I was going to take that down and park that there, which I paid $175 for a parking spot, because that's what you got to do if you want to park at Gillette Stadium for FIFA. But then that car had a smashed windshield, I don't know, a crack in the windshield. I'm exaggerating. I never saw a picture of it. It must have been bad enough that they didn't want to give it to me, because I was like, dude, I don't really care. Just give me, if it's not egregious, send me the car. Like this one has, like, presumably, I don't know, maybe are those chips? I can't really tell. Let's see. Push this, find out. Yeah, this one's got a whole bunch of little peppery guys on the windshield. So this has been through some things. So whatever went down with that Palisade must have been a big enough scratch that they're like, dude, we don't even want you to see this. So they gave me this, and that's fine. I'm happy to be in the Tremor. I like the Tremor. This is a great truck. And I would really love it if people would like use the right lane, because now I'm passing you on the right because you're going like 67 miles per hour in the center lane. Like, just use the slower lane. Keep right except the pass. Keep right except the pass. Very simple. We're going to pass these guys. We're going to go left. I know it's not always that easy to use the American highway system as designed, because people tend to use them however they feel suits them best. But yeah, so now we're doing the Kia Hyundai FIFA thing in a Ford. So congratulations, Ford. Y'all got on the board for this one. I really like this antenna. It's very bendy. At about 75 plus, the thing starts to get some real lean to it. That's good. I like that. So I lied to you a little bit. We are going to the airport, but we're not driving to the airport. I hate parking at Logan. It's incredibly expensive. It's incredibly cumbersome. Sometimes you have to park in really sketchy places because they actually do just sort of run out of spaces. And then people start parking along the side of like the ramps, and you're like, dude, this seems like a fire hazard and I'm gonna get towed, but everyone's doing it, so I guess I can do it. My flight's really soon, so I guess I have to do it. It's just the worst. And so Boston has different little outposts called the Logan Express. There's one in Danvers, Braintree, Woburn, and Framingham, which is where we're going. And they just built a nice new parking garage in Framingham, and it allows you to park for like $7 a day, and then the bus that takes you there costs $9. And I gotta tell you, I feel like I'm doing my part as a good citizen by getting a vehicle off the Mass Pike, especially during rush hour times, and taking a bus with a bunch of people. I don't know, some of you are above it. I'm not above taking a bus. I'm an adult. I hate traffic. And if I can be someone who's reducing traffic, well, look at me. That sounds nice. Anyway, now we just gotta wait for this nightmare red light, which always takes forever. All right, while we're sitting at this red light for 2 or 3 cycles, let's take a quick peek at this bad boy. $82,340. That's after a 1995 destination to delivery. That's a pretty high destination delivery fee. This is coming from Dearborn, man, not Germany. Base price $64,900. Options $15,430. That's that big ol' 402A. That's $11,710. Yeah, that's not small. Then it also has the retractable rear center step. Okay, bed liner, tonneau cover. Sure. All right, things add up. 16 highway, 21 city, 16 city, 21 highway, 18 combined. We're doing 18 combined right now, although we did spend most of the time on the highway, so that's not the most impressive thing in the world. That guy with a bicycle helmet's looking at me funny, which is funny because I have a camera on my face, and yet I'm looking at him funny because he's wearing a bicycle helmet in his vehicle. So, you know, we're not going to stare because staring is rude. Let's go. I don't want to sit through this in another cycle, but at least it's a comfortable place to sit. Let's go. Everyone, tight pattern, boys and girls. Tight pattern. Oh, this is it. Now we're toast. Come on. Holy cow. Get through the light. Oh, just made it by the skin of our teeth. I am baffled on a daily basis that the general public makes it to their destinations alive. It's why we need ultra-safe cars. It's why you need 12 airbags. It's why you need blind spot monitoring and adaptive cruise control and automatic braking and cameras. Look, this, are you gonna run this? What on earth, dude? Like, I'm literally talking about unsafe driving, and you take a right on red from the leftmost lane. Like, I sincerely hope that the pilots of my Delta flight are better pilots than they are these drivers out here, because otherwise we are toast on that Embraer today. I was a little worried about the height of this thing, but this is a new garage, and new garages seem to be pretty in touch with what vehicles people are driving these days. So, license plate being checked. That's nice. Get my little ticket. You don't even need the tickets anymore. 8'2". I think we're 6'7". So we are in the clear. That's lovely. You know, my favorite signs on garages, they're like, oh yeah, it's a 6'2" garage, but don't worry, the roof is unrestricted. How the hell am I supposed to get to the roof? Yeah, see, it's always nice when you pull into a garage in a truck and think like, ooh, am I going to fit? And then you see like an F-250 or an F-350, and then you're like, yeah, we're good. If that fits, we fit. Ooh, a Cayman with lots of dust. That thing's been living here. What a treat. I bet you guys clocked that way before I did. I'm home from a whirlwind couple of days, going to World Cup games, thanks to Kia and Hyundai. That was really a generous thing for them to do, to take me down to Philadelphia to see Ivory Coast, Curacao, even though my boys on the Curacao team lost. It was an incredibly electric game. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. And then flew straight home to go to France, Norway, and see the #1 team, France, decimate Norway, which was super fun. And now we're back here with the F-150 Tremor. Now, here's the thing. I drove the Tremor to Gillette Stadium, or Boston Stadium, as we're supposed to call it during FIFA times, to that game and parked in the general parking area. And the nice thing about having this instead of, say, my Civic Type R was that I was sitting way up high. Even this, couple-inch lift does the job to get this even higher. And here's the thing. I get anxiety going through these big stadium parking things because you're looking up and you're trying to see, and maybe I need glasses, but you're trying to see the signs of, hey, where am I supposed to be? And especially during the times when they're closing down sections of Route 1 and they're opening up lanes, you're like, man, I sincerely hope we're in the correct place. But this was awesome. Then I brought it home and used it for some cycling because I was just in the mood. One of the nicest things about this is this electric tailgate, and the electric tailgate even goes up. Although it always sounds just a little bit weak on the way up. I don't know, that's gotta have a lot of torque to move that massive weight. One of the things that I like about this is you get this step, right? So this step will come out. I dig the step, but the problem with the step, okay, I'm gonna show you this. Maybe I'm just using this incorrectly, but if I've got that step down and I've got this tailgate down and I'm trying to load something up into this bed, that is in an inaccessible place for my foot. So the step is essentially useless to me when I need it there. But what it does do, let's see, we'll throw this up. It has this kind of trick barn door style thing, which I think is nice. I mean, it's always nice to have a little added versatility. I don't know that the complexity is completely necessary, but it's there. And you can use this however you'd like. But the thing that I find is funny about these trucks, a lot of trucks have transformed into luxurious quad cabs with relatively short beds. That Honda Civic Type R, which is just a Civic hatch in terms of its interior space, holds my bike just the same as this Tremor. When I put my bike in here, it's basically loaded up tip to tip when that is closed up. So that is something just to keep in mind when you're looking at pickup trucks. Consider that bed length, because you may have a whole bunch of space inside for your people. It is incredibly luxurious. And by the way, this Bang & Olufsen sound system, it's a 14 speaker sound system. That's not an enormous number in the world of luxury cars and incredible sound systems. This absolutely bumps. I mean, seriously, when we were at Gillette, we were blasting like techno house beats because it was FIFA, and we were feeling generous to the folks who were walking miles up to the game. So we were having a blast doing that. Other thing is, I just love a big steel step, because that's going to help you on some rocks. And let's get it started up and head to the gym. Let's see, something else that's really nice, this massive retractable sunshade. I mean, every time I'm in a truck like this, I am reminded of how luxurious trucks have gotten. Sometimes that does get forgotten, and I'll tell you, the days of the macho 90s pickup truck guy, I feel like are kind of gone. I mean, unless you're Slate at this point, there's really no like bare bones trucks. Even with the all-terrains, this thing absolutely hooks up and rips. This 3.5 EcoBoost, man, oh, does it do the trick. And I gotta tell you, I'll be the first to admit, when I saw what was coming in my driveway and it was the Tremor, I was hoping, I really was hoping for the V8. I wanted the 5-liter. Because I'm a simple boy, I see displacement and that's what I want. But I have had such a great time living with this EcoBoost. Now, fuel economy-wise, I've been driving it pretty nice, but like properly, you know, like a normal person. I'm not driving 68 miles an hour. I'm driving like 72 to 75 miles an hour on the highway. This has been getting only just almost 17 mpgs for me with some mixed driving. And because it's got all this torque, it does allow you to play with traffic a little bit. You really can get in and out of spots quickly, which is probably contributing to my failed MPG experience. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think anyone's buying this because they're trying to be actually eco-friendly. I think it just needs to be said, for those of you who are actually looking at the EPA numbers and wondering if they're real, my lived experience over the past 200 miles is about 17 mpg. So not the worst, not the best. Feels a little wide on some of these roads. But because I've got big knobby tires, like, it's not intimidating for me to put this car right on the ragged edge of the road. Like, if I were to literally touch grass, it's not the end of the world. Like, if I went off there, it's not an accident like it might be in my Honda. Whereas, like, if I just kind of gently put it into a slight divot over there, it's gonna be okay. This is actually also one of the best heads-up displays I've seen. It displays quite a lot of information, but not in a distracting fashion. It's my biggest issue with heads-up displays is sometimes they try to put too much in there. They cram all this information on there, and by the time you've actually sorted out in your brain what you've looked at, like, I could have just used the dashboard and actually spent less time with my eyes off the road. It's been a while since I've spent any legitimate time in a Ford like this. I've driven around a little bit, but this has been a really nice experience and kind of reminds you that they know what they're doing with Boost. Can't go too hard. They built some houses. I think the ride quality is fantastic. I mean, it's still definitely a pickup truck, but it's smooth and easy. And, you know, the road I'm about to take you down, sometimes I choose not to take that road. What are you waiting for, man? Because the road up here sometimes gets a little washed out and trashy, and there's certain cars where I'm just like, it's not worth putting it through that. There is something really satisfying about driving a pickup truck like this, especially with the lift, especially with big old tires, where you know that you can kind of put it through anything. The turning radius isn't fantastic. This is a big truck. And earlier today, I did kind of have to go over a curb. And it was just like running over a pebble. It was meaningless to this truck. So it worked out well. Here's our Jersey friend. So you're not gonna get some raucous, sharp turn-in on these tires. They'll make a little noise. And that's where you do need to be cautious, because the problem is this power plant. Can you imagine putting this engine in like a Caterham or an Ariel Atom or something? Like, what an absolute monster. But that's the thing, is it does have the character of a very sporty power plant, and yet you still need to be fully aware that you're not pulling a G on the skid pad in your pickup truck. So one should be considerate. And that's something that sometimes I find frustrating, because when you hand a car like this to the Gen Pub, they do drive aggressively, because the car can drive aggressively. You can make moves on throttle. But boy, there's only so much stopping distance and lateral grip you're going to get with your turn-in on something like this. That was a pure run of that red. I'm just doing that for you. I've been just enjoying the juice beneath my foot in this thing. And it spools quick. The brakes feel positive. There's a lot of dive on the brakes, so you do need to be aware of your weight transfer. Still trying to find that traction. I promise, I really wasn't being bad there. I was being reasonable. New suicide lane here. Shared lane? I don't know. We call it a suicide lane. Sorry if that's offensive. Let's guess you're not going to use a blinker. Oh, such a smart car and no ability to use a blinker. The future is not here yet. But I can annihilate some speed bumps, even though we didn't do any off-roading in this big off-road Tremor. I get to be the guy taking up a lot of space in the gym parking lot, not slowing down for the speed bumps. I still will, because they're here for a reason. Anyway, this has been an insane week. I have gotten such little sleep. I think the first night in Philly was 3 hours. Second night in Philly, 3 hours. Jumped on a plane at 6 a.m. Came back to Boston. Took a 2-hour nap. Got back in this. Drove straight down to Gillette Stadium, Boston Stadium. And went to the World Cup game. Norway, France. France wins. They're playing Sweden soon. And then we're going to see, they're going to play Paraguay, because I just finished watching the Germany-Paraguay game, and Paraguay won, which was insane in a shootout. Oh, I have World Cup fever. I do. I love it. It is the best thing in the world, and I'll tell you why. Even if you don't like soccer, if you're just a sports fan, you just like competition. The reason it's so great is when you go to one of these stadiums, it is the first time I've been in a sporting event where every single person really wants to be there. There's nobody who's getting dragged along. There's nobody who's just there because their buddy had a season ticket and they're like, yeah, come have a beer with me and watch the Bruins, whatever. I've done that. I've been to Celtics games, Patriots games, Bruins games. I've been to Fenway Park a million times. And a lot of times it's just like going there for the experience. Why not? Why not? When you go to a World Cup game, you were there because you were dedicated, you were thrilled, you are cheering every single person. I mean, I watched waves go around these stadiums like 6 times in a row, and it's just relentless energy. Everybody's thrilled. And I think that's a really nice thing to have, especially in 2026, where it feels like the world is so disconnected, and it's fun that you can go to a sporting event with 2 completely opposite cultures of the planet in the same stadium, cheering essentially against each other, but with each other. And I know that sounds so cheesy, and I don't really care. It feels that way, and it's awesome. So thanks to Kia for inviting me down to Philly. Thanks for Hyundai for inviting me to my own home territory to watch a game there. And thanks to Ford for throwing me this Tremor for the week. I wish I got to do like more of a road trip with it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I really just wanted to live with it and see what that was going to be like. And you know what? We didn't do all the Tremor things, but I think a lot of people who buy a Tremor aren't necessarily going and doing all the Tremor things. Maybe they were gonna buy a Raptor but said, you know what, that's too much truck for me, or it's too much money for me. And then the Tremor becomes sort of the de facto, I don't wanna say downgrade, but alternative. It's fantastic. There's a couple little things that annoy me, like that step, but you know, it's got plenty of space. It's ultra luxurious. It's really hard to fault this thing. And I haven't driven the 5-liter, but I'll tell you right now, if you choose the 3.5, this EcoBoost V6, you're not going to be disappointed. This thing's an absolute ripper. And what a psychotic sound system. If you go to a dealership, just bring your phone, plug it in, put a playlist on, and really experience this. If I could, I would. You won't experience it through binaural audio. You genuinely need to feel this for yourself. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know who your World Cup picks are. I've got France right now. That's where I'm at. So let's see what happens. Anyway, don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.